Today, I am arguing for the holding of precedents found in the cases of Roe v. Wade and Casey v. Planned Parenthood that recognize the fundamental rights to abortion and privacy. This goes against the holdings of Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization. The Supreme Court found that the Constitution does not confer a right to abortion. I disagree. The Constitution confers a right to privacy, and I believe abortion falls under this fundamental right. This right is found under the liberty guaranteed to us as American citizens in our Constitution. The Dobbs decision to overturn these precedents directly restrains those who wish to terminate their pregnancy's agency and bodily autonomy. In other words, their own free will. I will be defending my stance through two main arguments: privacy, and therefore abortion, as a fundamental right through a long historical and legislative background, and on the fact that Dobbs' holding misinterprets the precedents and uses an outdated approach to address the issue.
Go ahead.
I will begin with the facts of the case. In 2018, Mississippi passed their Gestational Age Act. This act banned abortions after 15 weeks. This directly went against the court's ruling in Roe v. Wade and Casey v. Planned Parenthood that outlawed rules restricting abortion prior to the second trimester and later until viability.
Viability is rather vague. Do you think it's an adequate measure?
Yes. Viability, to me, is the best compromise for both sides. Viability is the fetus's ability to survive outside the womb, and doctors have determined that it is typically between 23 to 24 weeks of pregnancy. This allows for viability to shift as our medical industry continues to improve. The Jackson Women's Health Organization then filed suit against the state of Mississippi, which led to the case working its way up to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court then ruled that the precedent set in Roe and Casey should be overturned, basing their argument on abortion is not guaranteed in the Constitution.
Do you believe it?
Yes, I do. I believe there are two main issues with the court's ruling: a right to privacy and a right to liberty. Ooh, hold up. Where is it? Liberty, as defined by Cornell School of Law, is the freedom from arbitrary and unreasonable restraint upon an individual. Freedom from restraint refers to more than just a physical restraint, but also the freedom to act according to one's own free will. I believe we can both agree that liberty is a fundamental right and is found in the Constitution. Under liberty, there fall a lot of our unenumerated rights. Among these are our right to privacy. For example, this can be found in the First and Fourth Amendment. However, the most prevalent mention of a right to privacy is under the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment's Due Process Clause states that no state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws.
What about the ruling in Washington v. Glucksberg in 1997, which found that things that go against our nation's historical practices are not protected under the 14th Amendment due to the Process Clause? I believe that holding uses the term deeply rooted in American history.
Well, abortion does have a long history in America, even if it is not explicitly stated in the Constitution. Abortion is a well-known practice in America dating back to the days of the colonies. In fact, it was allowed under English common law, which was the basis for our judicial system, until quickening or movement of the baby. Abortion was not made illegal until the mid-1800s. I also believe that the ruling in Glucksberg is too narrow. Liberty should instead be understood in a broader sense. This standard is inconsistent with the ruling in Loving, Turner, and Zablocki, which allowed for fundamental rights to be clarified, even when there is no historical or textual backing. For example, in Obergefell v. Hodges, instead of narrowly looking to see if same-sex marriage was deeply rooted in this nation's tradition, the court instead looked at marriage as a whole and decided the government could not interfere on the fundamental rights to privacy in marriage.
Okay, well then I would like to ask you a question.
All right.
Do you think abortion would be obsolete if the government instead funded a robust sex ed program and allowed for free contraception?
I agree that a better sex education would be helpful in limiting the number of abortions needed, as would an increase in access to contraceptives. However, contraceptives are not 100%, and the pill has around a 9% failure rate just due to women mistaking the pill or even not taking pills for a couple days at a time. Even IUDs, which have the highest effective rates, allow for 8 out of 1,000 women to get pregnant. And the IUD can also be painful and migrate throughout the body, which happens in 5% of cases. Also, a lot of women just do not want to undergo the hormone imbalances and side effects that the pill can have, nor do they want an invasive operation such as an IUD.
Then what about condoms?
Condoms are only 98% effective if worn correctly. However, if used incorrectly, this drops to an 85% effectiveness rate. And yes, education on these matters would help increase the effectiveness of these contraceptives, but they're never going to be 100%. Pregnancies still happen, and a woman has the right to end it if she does not wish to follow through with it. In conclusion, the fundamental rights to liberty and privacy, and therefore abortion, are covered by the US Constitution, and it is the job of the government to protect these rights from the laws that infringe upon them. Let me see if I can stop the recording.